Hi, everyone. My name is Alita Davis, and I'm the president of Preservation Trust of Wicomico. I have a very special guest here with me today, and I think you're going to be very interested in what she has to say and why Preservation Trust is so interested in supporting her project. As you may know or may not know, Preservation Trust has been using its nonprofit status in order to help other organizations who have worthwhile preservation projects, heritage projects, but may not be a 501c3. So through our organization, we can act as a fiduciary, and they can then obtain a grant, and we will hold the grant monies for them, and they'll issue checks as they need it for their project. So I'll tell you a little bit about our guest. I was sitting at home one day, and I got a phone call, and I think you've all seen the lovely preservation sign that Preservation Trust has. This is a sign we sell that it's normally for homes in areas 100 years or older. And as you see, this one is just our sample. It's got Preservation Trust established circa 1970, and then Wicomico County. Well, this lady on the phone was asking about some signage, and she said she was interested in for her father's store, which was sometime in the 1940s. And so I said, well, normally we just do historic buildings. And then I found out that this was the black part of Allen that has its own rich heritage. And we had the best talk and just instant friends. And so after we hung up, then Dr. Banks got all excited, and of course we talked the next day, and I am going to introduce her and let her tell you what she has been thinking about. So this is Dr. Jacqueline Lorraine Banks. And Lenora, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I'm sorry, Lenore Banks.
No one ever used to pronounce my middle name, so I'm impressed.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
And she lives in Baltimore, but she's originally from Allen. And of course, if you've never been to Allen, you need to go through Allen. It's a beautiful, bucolic country area. And I had no idea that there was a part of Allen called Black Allen. So I am going to let Dr. Banks tell you what she came up with after talking about signage. I remember something about saying, oh, but that's a lot of information. We can't get that on our site.
Right. Yeah, so, we were talking, and you made a statement about another project that blacks own land. I said, well, blacks in Allen have been owning land for decades. And so we moved from, let me do something for my parents' business, Nick's Peaceful Palace. Mm-hmm. We used to say there was nothing peaceful about it. But
I bet there wasn't.
Oh, no, I found some newspaper articles, too, back in the day.
Yes.
But it was there, and the significance is that for a while, there were only two places to gather in Black Allen. When we say Black Allen, you turn on Upper Ferry Road, there used to be, from that point on, all the way to the ferry itself, it was all black people. Mm-hmm. And then at an intersection of Walnut Tree Road, you go left, you go right, they're also black people. And so the community developed parallel to the white community. We never had any problems with the white community. Mm-hmm. Ever, really. As a matter of fact, I would say we kind of like each other in Allen.
Yes, and still do.
And still do.
From what I understand,
Any problems like that, you know. A lot of respect for the families, the whole families, the Pollard family, etc.
Oh, yes.
So, but then when I thought about it, and I think about the people of Allen, my heart just opens up. My heart just opens up. And I thought about all the stories we could tell. Mm-hmm. It's not enough to, you look at Allen, everyone knows we have the church. Everyone knows we have the original school building there. And then we have our cemeteries. Mm-hmm. And so most of the history, and people talk about Allen, Black Allen, that's all they point out.
Right.
They are missing so much more. These people were entrepreneurs. We got, this is the important part I want to say. I'm a poke. Most of Allen the Black Allen was populated by people from the same family, from James Morris
Yes.
Polk and Rebecca Black Polk. I don't know. Okay. When you think about Black Allen, these two people populated that, and from there they moved out into other parts of the county, other parts of the state, other parts of the country. And I'm saying that because I can almost tell you wherever there's a Polk, that
You're
originated,
related.
we're related, and they're doing wonderful things.
Now, about what, I know you told me that Allen was founded by free black people. Do you know about, was this in the 1800s, the 1900s?
Well, we know that we know that our family, we know what the first male African came late. Well, boy, he didn't come on his own.
No, of course not. Unfortunately.
So, but by early 1800s, way before the Civil War, the Polks were free people. Mm-hmm. So they didn't even live one generation on the male side in bondage, not even a generation. And on the female side, to start our family, Rebecca Black Polk, the Black family, very well respected and old family. I think their history goes all the way back to the 1600s
Wow.
in America.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, they go back real far. So bring those two families together, and the children, their 10 children, we populated Allen, Black Allen for the most part. Most of the people even live there today are in Allen either because they're related to the Polks or they married into the Polk family. We do have exceptions with people coming up from the South. Some of the migrant workers moved to Allen and stayed.
That was the other question. I wondered if you had other people that,
do.
This looks like a nice community for black people.
Well,
Maybe I should
yes.
settle here.
I just learned the other day when talking to someone that there's another cemetery in Allen.
Well, tell us about that.
Well, she was just speaking, and I mentioned, we were talking about the family names, and one family name that I came up was the Whitney family.
Yes.
They're not Popes, and they're not related to the Popes.
Okay.
But they've been in Allen for generations. And so I was talking to Ellen Gray, and she mentioned about the patriarch of the family. She said, I remember him and his horse and cart and everything. And they just talked about the land they owned down. I never knew they owned that land, because it's not like the land that's right on the road. It's like behind.
Okay.
So, but she said years ago, and on that land back there, near the intersection of Upper Ferry and Walnut Tree Road, back over that way, she said the Holloway funeral home used to come with bodies.
Oh, my goodness.
So I hope that we can locate that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know if there are any of the stones still standing?
I haven't even
or-
been back there. I just learned about it this past week. I didn't even know we had another cemetery in Allen.
Well, that's very interesting. We need to look into that,
The
definitely.
same way, like a lot of the homes that were even there when I was a little girl gone. Like directly across from the house I was raised in, I never knew until recent history that those two people who lived in that house were actually born into slavery.
Oh, boy.
They were born into slavery. Slavery ended when they were children. But I didn't know that. So
Right.
something needs to mark that.
Exactly.
I
I think a lot of people don't know anything about this area.
Oh my God,
And-
it's rich in history.
And the reason, you can talk about why you want to put these signs here. It's not just the people, but when we drove through,
Yeah.
what's the problem? The buildings.
Oh,
They're-
they're losing the buildings.
Yes,
They're
yes.
losing the buildings, and we talked about the importance of putting up some sort of signage to say, like for example, Uncle Joe's store. It's a store that used to be right across the street from the church, and it's not there anymore. The King family owned it, and the King family was true entrepreneurs, and they were also into transportation. Like I know we went up to at least 4 generations of people being in transportation with buses transporting the kids back and forth to school and things like that, and back and forth to the fields, and
Right.
even my grandfather was in transportation. Everybody always had something going on in Allen. The work ethic, the heart of the people, the soul of the people. That's what I want to put on display.
Yes.
And when I think about someone as sweet and as loved as my great Aunt Alice, for example, she had the sweetest spirit, played the piano in the church, worked with the little teeny babies in the church. You know, there's not one person over the last, 60, 70 years that did not know Aunt Alice, because she worked with the babies. She worked with me. When my daughter came through, actually, I asked when you work with the kids again. When my son came through 8 years later, you know, and on the little Sunbeam. So the Sunbeam Choir, but you want to tell that story. You know, did she have a regular job? Yeah, she worked. I think she retired from Salisbury State. And
Okay.
so, you know, and her husband, my Uncle Mayu Pope, was the pianist in the church. And, you know, he was a carpenter. And most things that were built in our community in the 40s, we built ourselves.
And so this is a life that was happening pre-integration.
Yes.
Before the time when you thought about people as being different because of their color or their culture. And these people were successful in their own right.
Yeah.
And at this time in history. So it makes you think about people that say we can't get anywhere. We can't do anything.
You know, I am very prejudiced towards the Pope family.
Yeah.
So because we have so many people that have done so many wonderful things, I'm very, very proud of the people in my family. I don't
Yes.
care if they didn't do anything. If you work and you took care of your family and you bought a house and kept your family, your roof over your family's head,
yeah.
clothes on their back.
Yeah, a lot of people couldn't buy homes. You know,
Only-
they never
yes.
were able
You know
to buy
what? I
homes.
didn't even know people rented. When I never knew about rent. Everybody I knew owned everything.
That-
in Allen.
see,
everybody owned their land,
That's something.
everything.
That's something else. And that's, I mean, I think this is good for young people to know that these people succeeded back then. Now, you need to succeed now.
Everything takes effort.
Yes.
Everything takes effort. Nothing is given to you.
No, that's for sure.
You know, you got to work now. Every now and then you might luck up on something and you just count that as a blessing, but
Yes.
you have to already be out there putting forth the effort. That's the way life kind of goes.
Exactly. So at this point, with the houses, I think all of them are gone.
A lot
pretty
of the
much.
houses. Well, there are quite a number of houses that are gone. But luckily, there's still a lot.
And the property is still
Properties
there.
are still there, still owned by.
And
most of the property. This is what's happening. It's really so sad. We don't have Black Allen anymore. Black Allen is now Integrated Allen.
That was a fun spot, the new spot for the day. Yes, it's the white, not the white flight, the white migration, whatever. Shoo.
Okay, so yeah. But there's so much rich history there, and I think about Lenny King. He had a business. He would bring by beans to shell, you know. So you shell out your beans, and he'd pay you about a quart, and then he'd go all over the Lower Eastern Shore selling his shelled beans.
Wow. So he had you children did the work.
We did the work for my pennies.
You got money for a soda and some candy,
Yes.
and then he got a lot of money out of it.
That was his business.
But it was nice. He let you kids make some money.
That's what we did. He
So-
come by, and we do it. It was easy work.
So what you're trying to do is preserve this history
This
that
history.
it's not known to anybody outside of Allen at this point.
And the spirit of the people.
Yes. So
The heart of the people.
if you would do this project, for example, somebody could be taking a drive through Allen, and every time they would see a sign, they would know to stop. This is a piece of history. I have to
Yes.
stop and read this.
Yes, we plan on. My plan is to have the signage that tells stories, so that when you read the sign, you would know who lived here, for example, what they did, and maybe what their contribution was, or someone from their family, what their contribution was. For example, my grandparents, 10 kids, 6 boys.
Wow.
All 6 boys went to the military.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's incredible.
It is incredible.
Yeah, and they also, my mother came up during the Depression years, and I forgot what the Army called it, but it was some recruiting thing that the Army government did, and you had to come in and you work and you earn money from your family.
Oh yes, WC.
The corps, some corps.
Yes. WPC. I don't remember what it. Yeah, Roosevelt's plan to put people to work.
A couple of them had to do that.
Yes.
And when I said it, now I'm reading the newspaper during my family research, and it's right in the paper. Mm-hmm. Okay, my Uncle Hillary Polk. So
that's what my family was doing in the Depression. That was news.
Yeah.
I mean, how wonderful, because and our parents are gone, our grandparents are gone. So who is going to keep this story? Make this story told if it isn't done soon before everybody's gone.
Oh, this is why I want to tell it, because I am afraid of that.
Yes.
I am afraid that if I don't tell the story of all of Allen, of all of the books of Allen, it won't get told. And it's and the way I like for it to be told, this is the heart of the people.
Exactly. Bring that feeling out, so you feel that time in history, you feel that place and those people. Mm-hmm. And I think it's also the fact that this is an entire African American community.
Yes.
And all the people there at the time were African American.
I could tell you exactly when we integrated to South Upper Ferry Road, because I was still living in Allen, and my son was about, maybe, I'm going to put him up to 10, he was more like 8, but for 10 for rounding numbers. So that's over 20 some years ago. That's when Allen first integrated.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Black Allen first integrated.
That must have, I remember I was a little girl then, and I remember I looked at these pictures in the paper and I was horrified. I'm like, that little girl looks so scared. And I remember asking my dad, why is she so scared? Well, who are those men? And he said, well, they have to protect her because she's going into a white school for the first time. And why do they have to protect her, Daddy?
Well, that happened. We didn't have that, we didn't have that kind of turmoil in Wicomico County. But it was still
scary.
It was scary. It was an unknown world.
Those were new, different people.
But you know what? I think I have lifelong friends from the 5th grade, because the integrated school when I was going into the 5th grade, and it was a transition. But I have friends and acquaintances from the 5th grade on. Okay.
Still.
Oh,
that's amazing.
And Facebook has allowed us to reconnect.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's one good thing about Facebook.
So I don't look at I've always been a survey activist, but I always look at individuals. Okay.
Well, I would say then what we are asking the people of Allen is to come to you with their family information and their history, because you'd also like kind of a timeline to be going on.
Yeah, I have in my mind estimated it's going to take us maybe 2 to 5 years to complete this project, and it would be something that we will all be proud of. I won't do anything unless we can be proud of it. And I'm sorry, I forgot.
That's okay.
Question.
Well, I noticed when we were there, we were in the cemetery, I noticed so many veterans in that cemetery, which was really touching to me.
Once again, the spirit of the people. They're gonna, they're folks, they love the land, they love the country. My Uncle Morris, he served in the 54th regiment, which is an all-black the cavalry unit out of Massachusetts. Even when he went to the military, it was still in existence. The same with the Buffalo Soldiers.
Yes.
People more familiar. We have a Pope that did that also.
Of course, yes.
And then, but the other regiment that was all black was the 54th Cavalry out of Massachusetts. I don't know if they are 154, but he was part of that too. But
how exciting!
I
mean, to know that, but that's what we don't want the history to be lost.
No.
And you
No.
know, once it's gone, it's so hard to find anything out, especially if it's all family history. It's not written down.
It's not written
It's
down.
just talked about. And
It's just
the
talked
kids
about.
ignore it. The older people talk about it, and then somebody will be mentioned something, and all of a sudden those kids are like, "Hey, I remember somebody used to talk about that at home, but I didn't pay any attention to it." But you know, they'll like, "I wish I'd listened.
Paid more attention.
I wish I had paid attention."
Yeah, I love old people.
Oh, I know. They're amazing.
But now what am I talking about?
Yeah, me too. No, we're not. No, we're not. No. So you are, I think I asked you one time before, you don't know, you know, you said this was established by free black people, and I had told you I read a book at one time where there was a free black community, but other people who had recently been enslaved, they had heard about that, and they moved there, and they wanted to live there because they had heard this was already a flourishing community where they could be comfortable and be around people, you know, that they felt safe with,
right.
and secure with. So I wonder how many people did
Well, that's
come
what
to the
makes
area.
Allen very unique. You know, off the highway, off the main path.
Oh, it's beautiful there.
So that's why most of the black people come from that one out the post. Okay, so we didn't have the people. If I were to walk through Allen and do all the black Allen, I could tell you exactly who lived here, who lived there, everything. And there are very few people that I'm not related to. And Allen,
Wow.
they come in. We were already there.
You were already there.
We-
Yes.
Unlike, I think I read the article not too long ago, was it San Domingo?
Uh-huh.
And then people actually moved.
Yes.
That didn't happen in Allen. We were already there.
Yeah. But it was kind of, San Domingo in the way was the same because that was a
free black
flourishing,
community,
again, a
right.
flourishing community. And I remember my husband talking about San Domingo.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
he knew all these places
okay.
and all the people there because,
Okay.
you know, being born in 1935,
Oh, my.
you know, you just, these rural areas, you grew up with all kinds of
And
people.
you know the
Everybody,
people.
yes. And believe me, he was in everybody's house in his town because he went to see who had pie for dessert and what kind.
Oh, my gosh,
And they were, you know,
yes.
just like he was a little homeless kid, except no, he was just shopping for dessert from
Right,
house
right,
to house.
right.
But no, he told me a lot of stories about the Eastern Shore that I mean, I thought it was amazing because he had firsthand experience of these things. And I'm being a generation younger than he was, that had not been my experience, those things. You know?
Oh, well, you know, we lived through it. I wish I could show my, I published a book, Naomi's Proverbs, and it's a collection of the things that my mother said to me during the 50s and the 60s,
Yes.
so I could survive as a black girl. And so it's like a little How to Survive Racism in America book. I don't know how else to
Right.
say it.
No,
Maybe I could call it and be successful.
But that's what you want to do.
And be successful.
But you want, first and foremost, you want to protect your child as they go out into the world, and tell them this is the safe way to do this. And you know, so I can understand that. Nobody wants their child to get hurt.
Well,
So-
you have to learn. My last job was as a K-12 classroom teacher. I wanted to be a superintendent, but I used to tell my kids lots of things. For me, my family goes back 5 generations here. So when I say I'm from the Eastern Shore,
You're the Eastern Shore.
I'm from the Eastern
Yes,
Shore.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, let me. We are about out of time, so let's kind of tell people what we would like them to do. First of all, put in my little pitch for Preservation Trust. If you are interested in a historic sign, you can email, or you can email me at allmanor, ALLMANOR, at Comcast.net, and I will send you an application. Or you can mail me a letter and send it to, well, email me, or you can send a request also to Preservation Trust of Wicomico, P.O. Box 4695, Salisbury, Maryland 21803. And after listening to the wonderful plans that Dr. Banks has, I hope you will consider perhaps giving a donation to Preservation Trust for this project. All the money is held in an account for the project. And when Dr. Banks goes to get her grants, this shows community support for a project like this. And it will help her to get the grant money she needs to finish this, to complete this project and get this. Well, you're already started on it,
yes.
So we want to get it completed. Is there anything else you would like to say, Dr. Banks?
I think, I think we've decided the name is on Black Allen
yes.
Culture Preservation Project.
Yes. So if you do send a note or a check to Preservation Trust, please put the Black Allen Cultural Preservation Project on your check or on the front of the envelope. So that we will make sure that this goes to Dr. Banks for this very worthwhile historic project. And I'm excited to see how this plays out. And I hope that you will all get involved and help support this project as we try to support all of you in your heritage preservation endeavors. So I would like to thank you, Dr. Banks, for being here today and sharing some of your wonderful history of Black Allen. I'm just fascinated with the place myself.
We've been enjoying having some great conversations.
Yes.
You're welcome. There's so many people I have to talk about that came out of Allen. They've done so many wonderful things.
We'll just have to have some other spots here.
Yes, people,
we'll do that.
People will be amazed.
We will follow up when we get a little more into this project. So thank you again for being here. And thank you all for listening to our spot. And we all very much appreciate all of you who are supporting your projects and supporting Preservation Trust of Wicomico. Thank you. Bye-bye.